They told you retirement was freedom, but they never warned you about the silence that follows. If you've ever felt that empty chair at the table or that clock ticking louder when the house is too quiet, this video is for you. Subscribe, because here we break the silence every man lives but almost no one dares to speak about. Nobody prepares you for the silence after 55. Not the doctors, not your co-workers at the farewell party, not even your own family. They talk about retirement like it's a reward. Freedom, rest, finally time for yourself. But no one tells you about the hours that stretch too long, the empty spaces in the house that once felt alive, the phone that doesn't ring anymore. If you've ever sat at the kitchen table, staring at a chair that stays empty night after night, you know what I mean. You can hear the clock on the wall, louder than ever before, marking each second with a sharp tick, tick, tick. The same clock that once went unnoticed when life was full now sounds like a reminder of everything that's gone quiet. The truth is, this silence sneaks up on men. Especially men who spent their lives working with their hands, building, fixing, providing, moving from one task to the next without much pause. When the world no longer asks for those hands every morning, when the work boots gather dust by the door, it feels like part of who you are has been taken away. And here's the part almost no one admits. It hurts. It hurts in ways that are hard to explain. You wake up without urgency, without direction. You notice friends don't call anymore. Your children have their own busy lives, and the people you shared laughter with seem to have drifted out of reach. You don't want to complain. After all, you were taught to be strong, to handle things on your own. But inside, there's an ache that strength alone can't silence. If you're feeling that, hear me clearly. It's not weakness, it's not failure, it's human. You are not the only one. Thousands of men, tough men, capable men, men who gave their best years to work and family, are fighting the same invisible battle in the quiet of their homes. The world rarely talks about this kind of loneliness, maybe because it's uncomfortable, maybe because it challenges the image of men who are supposed to have it all together. But ignoring it doesn't make it go away. It only makes the silence heavier, so let's name it, let's say it out loud. After 55, many men find themselves face to face with a silence they were never warned about. A silence that sits with you in the living room, that follows you when you switch off the TV, that lies down beside you when the house is dark. But here's why I'm speaking to you right now. Because even though it feels like nobody sees this pain, I do. And if you've ever felt the weight of that empty chair, the stillness of that untouched tool bench, or the long evenings that seem endless, I want you to know you're not invisible. This is the beginning of a fight worth having. Not against age, not against time, but against the silence that tries to convince you life has already passed you by. How loneliness creeps. Loneliness doesn't show up at your door all at once. It doesn't knock loudly and announce itself. No, it slips in quietly, like a draft through a cracked window. At first, you don't even notice. You tell yourself you're just tired, that it's normal to rest more at this age, that friends are simply busy. But slowly, little by little, it starts to take hold. It shows up in the mornings when you realize you have nowhere to be. That used to sound like freedom. No boss, no deadlines, no one rushing you. But after a while, the freedom feels like a cage with invisible walls. You find yourself sitting longer at the table after breakfast, staring at the newspaper, half reading the same line over and over. It creeps in during the afternoons, when the house feels too still. The tools in the garage remain untouched. The projects you once thought you'd finally finish gather dust. Even the TV shows you used to enjoy lose their spark, and you start flipping through channels just to fill the silence. And then there are the evenings. The sun goes down, and the quiet becomes heavier, almost unbearable. The chair across from you stays empty. The phone stays silent. The clock keeps ticking, always ticking. That sound becomes a cruel reminder. Time keeps moving. even when nothing in your life seems to. Loneliness is not just sadness, it's something deeper. It eats at your energy, your patience, your will. You feel yourself getting more irritable, snapping at small things that never bothered you before. You start losing interest in the hobbies you once loved. Even your body feels heavier, slower steps, more aches, less drive. It's like rust on a tool left in the shed. You might have been the strongest hammer, the sharpest blade, the steadiest set of hands. But rust doesn't care. Left alone too long, even the strongest metal weakens. That's what loneliness does to a man. It corrodes from the inside out, slowly, silently. And let's be honest, the world doesn't always take it seriously. People might say you're just bored, or go find something to do. But it's not that simple. This isn't boredom. This is a hidden enemy that digs into your health, your mind, your very sense of self. Studies show it can raise blood pressure, weaken the immune system, and even shorten a man's life. But you don't need studies to know it's real. You can feel it every day in your own body. Here's the truth that matters most. No one is coming to knock on your door and pull you out of it. That's the trap, waiting for someone else to fix it, to notice, to rescue you. But the good news is this: you don't need to wait. You can take the first step yourself. Small, quiet, steady steps that slowly push the silence back. Because while loneliness is powerful, it's not invincible. And the moment you recognize it for what it is, not weakness, not shame, but a battle that can be fought, you've already taken back ground. How to turn the game around? Loneliness may feel like a giant shadow, but remember this: shadows only exist when there's light nearby. The silence that surrounds you now is real, but so is the possibility of breaking it. The battle isn't about pretending you don't feel lonely. It's about taking small, deliberate steps to remind yourself and the world that you're still here, still strong, and still needed. The first step is to reclaim a piece of yourself that felt lost. Maybe it's a skill you once took pride in: woodworking, fixing engines, painting, playing guitar. Those things aren't just hobbies, they're reminders of who you are. Pick one back up. Even if you haven't touched it in years, let your hands remember the motions. There's dignity in doing, in creating, in seeing something come alive again, because of you. The second step is to find connection in small, daily ways. It doesn't have to mean big social gatherings or chasing friendships that have drifted away. Start simple. Say hello to a neighbor, join a local group, a walking club, a church circle, or even an online community where men share their stories. You'll be surprised how many others are waiting for someone to break the silence first. Every handshake, every good morning, every short conversation, it chips away at the walls loneliness tries to build. Third, use your body as the bridge back to life. Movement matters. A short walk around the block, a light exercise routine, even just stretching in the morning. It wakes you up in ways that sitting still never will. Your body remembers action, and when you move, your mind begins to follow. Walks can become moments of connection too, whether with others in the park or with your own thoughts in fresh air, away from the four walls that feel too quiet. Most importantly, understand this: reaching out, showing up, moving forward, none of this is weakness. It's strength. It's proof that you're not giving up to the rust, the silence, the shadow. It's not asking for help. It's reclaiming the power you've had all along. There will still be days that feel heavy. There will still be evenings when the clock seems too loud and the chair too empty, but those moments don't define you. What defines you is the decision to keep fighting back, to refuse to accept that this is the end of your story, because it isn't. Not even close. You've lived too much, given too much, survived too much to let loneliness be the thing that takes you down. It doesn't get the last word. You do. So take that first step. Dust off the guitar, tighten the bolts on that old engine, walk down the street and nod to someone you pass. Open the window and let light in. An action may feel small, but small actions done daily can rebuild a life. Loneliness is strong, but you are stronger. The silence is heavy, but you are heavier. The shadow is wide, but you carry your own light. The first step is to stop pretending it doesn't exist. The second is to do something, anything, that reminds you you're alive, because you are. And if this feels familiar to you, if you've fought or are fighting this same silent battle, share your thoughts in the comments. Other men need to know they're not alone, and if you haven't yet, subscribe. Because here we talk about the battles every man feels, but almost no one dares to name. Maybe right now, as you're watching this, the house around you is quiet. Maybe there's an empty chair across from you, a clock ticking in the background, and a window showing a night that feels colder than it used to. If that's true, I want you to understand something clearly. You are not invisible, and you are not forgotten. Men like you, men who worked with their hands, who built, who carried, who sacrificed, have given more to this world than most people will ever know. The silence that tries to tell you your story is over is lying. Your story is not finished. It's simply waiting for a new chapter. The truth is, loneliness wins only if you let it. But the moment you share, the moment you speak, the moment you reach out, even here in the comments, you've already started to push it back. And you might be surprised at how many other men will nod their heads and say, I feel that too. So don't keep this battle locked inside. Open up, share your story below. You might think it's just words, but for another man reading them in silence tonight, it could be the very lifeline he needs. And if you want to keep walking this road together, hit subscribe. Because here, we don't sugarcoat, we don't hide. We talk about the battles men actually live, the ones most people are too afraid to mention. Solidarity starts with honesty, and hope starts the moment you refuse to fight alone. Remember, loneliness is strong, but you are stronger.